Well, first of all, thank you guys for coming. I thought I would be nervous tonight. I really did. I have to tell you. But then you all got here, and it was like home came back to me this time. And it's just seeing all the specs of our career. You know, John and I got married in college. I mean, well, before I started college. We've been married 30 years this year. And we've been with you guys through medical school and residency and fellowship, and you guys are our world, and it's just so wonderful to have you all here. So thank you very much for allowing me to be a part of your world. I appreciate it. I want to start by reading a letter, because it would be much more eloquent than anything I could put together. It says, Dear Dr. Elders, I am proud to join your friends, colleagues, and many admirers in congratulating you as you receive the inaugural Pediatric Endocrine Society of Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, and Arkansas Lifetime Achievement Award. As the first person in Arkansas to be a certified pediatric endocrinologist, and as a lifelong advocate for accessible, affordable, quality health care for all, no one is more worthy of this honor than you. As a practitioner, a teacher, director of the Arkansas Department of Health, and U.S. Surgeon General, you have always strived to enhance the education and well-being of the people you serve. Thanks to your efforts, millions of people in Arkansas and across America have had the chance to live healthier, better lives. As always, I remain inspired by your example, grateful for your service, and honored by your friendship. Congratulations again on this well-deserved award, and all my best wishes for a wonderful celebration. And it's just signed sincerely, Bill. So your dear friend. When we started meeting as a team and dreaming and planning of what we wanted this to look like, we dreamed of who would be the ultimate speakers that we could have. And of course, your name came up first, Dr. Elders. And then we realized we shouldn't just ask you to speak, but we should honor you. And we should be proud of the accomplishments. I cannot tell your history any better than your previous employer did. So I've decided to take a little different route. As I researched and read and watched videos, a quote came to me that you said, I don't know if you remember saying it or not, but it says, I've been able to climb the ladder of success. And the thing I know is I have to keep sending the ladder back down for the rest. You know what medicine looked like when you got here. And I'm here to tell you today, 50% of pediatric endocrinologists are women. I'm sure you hear that in a lot of places. I want to introduce you to the legacy you have set forth. So this is your time for audience participation. We're going to be calling some names, and don't be shy. Go ahead and stand up so Dr. Elders can meet you. John stole some of my thunder because he introduced so many people, but first we have Marcy Doderer. She's been the CEO of Arkansas Children's Hospital for the last since 2013. Revitalized our transgender clinic and is saving lives with her multidisciplinary approach. If you have diabetes and you live in Arkansas and you need insurance help, y'all, you know you have to call Pearly Homes. Last night I met Alicia Diaz-Thomas. She's one of our speakers here today. And we're thrilled to know that she studies and focuses on disorders on sexual development. We have Melissa Ham, and I'm sorry, Jeannie, I'm probably going to say it wrong. Jeannie? Thank you. They not only see patients and work, but they sit on the Pestola board and make sure things like this happen for us all the time. Incredibly strong practitioners. We've got Olga Gutta, Kathy Sumter, Shipra Mansell. We have strong leaders for our cause and champions. We have Ann Kruger, Terry Songer, Christina Clark, Chanda Chacon. We have amazing women in endocrinology. If you're a woman of endocrine, please stand up. Of a woman in medicine, if you support them in your home, however you help in medicine, please stand up. Dr. Elders, these are the people climbing your ladder. Dr. Joycelyn Elders.
I don't know what you say after all of that. Probably the best thing after meeting everybody and having a wonderful reception, and having all the wonderful dinner and drinks and meeting everybody. I don't know what you say. And then, you know, Children's Hospital has been supporting endocrinology forever. Even, you know, when we would need hormone. And we would need both even expensive hormones that we didn't think possible. Children's Hospital, Arkansas Children's Hospital, never turned us down. They always made sure that somehow, some way, we got it. And I would always ask, you know, I would say, ask. I said, don't ask Dr. Elders, we might have to tell you. But I'm just saying that Arkansas Children's Hospital has been very, very, very supportive of the children and the needs of children for a very long time. You know, when we did have money for fellows, I didn't ask where they got it. They might have told me. And so I'm just saying, Arkansas has been supporting children in endocrinology for a very long time. We weren't always at Arkansas Children's Hospital when we started out, you know, over at the University Hospital. And of course, most of the people over there who was very much interested and involved with children and were academic kind of pediatricians. But many of the people, you know, people like, you know, Dr. Ted Panish, you know, we don't think of him as an endocrinologist, but he really was, he was certainly in metabolism, because that was what he was about. And then as I was reading and listening and thinking about endocrinology in Arkansas, I looked and saw that Dr. Riley from Arkansas contributed to the very first book on pediatric endocrinology and metabolism that was ever written, and he was one of the initial chairman of pediatrics at Arkansas. And of course, we all remember, all the endocrinologists in this room certainly remember Dr. Lawson Wilkins, it was people like Dr. Riley and Dr. Catherine Dodd, who gave many of the initial descriptions of pediatric endocrinology problems that we understand in the pictures of the very first major conference that was held. So again, we're really very pleased and very grateful for all of that. I think that, when you think of endocrinology in Arkansas, most of you don't think of Dr. Del Fisher as being from Arkansas. This was the only, but Dr. Delbert Fisher was here from 1960 to 1968. Did most of his initial endocrine studies here in Arkansas. But when we think back on the initial start of pediatric endocrinology, it really, endocrine started out, we didn't actually talk about endocrinology since the 14th century. And that was back in the time when they ground up fish scales and leaves to treat hypothyroidism. And it was, of course, for a very long time. It wasn't until the 1800s until we really started, taking glands, grinding them up, and using them for treatment. So we've been around, but we didn't become official. Probably with the Dr. Nathan Taylor, we probably become Wilkins. We started being recognized as kind of endocrinologists. But it really wasn't until 1970, in the 70s, that we really became endocrinologists, and it wasn't until 1978, they said, well, I was the first board-certified pediatric endocrinologist in Arkansas. But there were a lot of people doing good pediatric endocrinology long before 1978. It was just that we didn't have boards. So, that was when, they had to design the boards, and, we didn't have a board, we had the adult endocrine boards, and then the pediatric endocrine boards were kind of our branch of, was formed after that. And that was not formed, and we didn't have official boards. The first pediatric boards was given in 1978. And I took one of the first pediatric endocrine boards. But the other, they had endocrinology boards before that, but they weren't pediatric endocrine boards. So they had what we call first generation endocrinologists, second generation endocrinologists. I was a third generation endocrinologist. But, because, Dr. Long, Dr. Wilkins, Los Wilkins was probably one of the first generation endocrinologists. He was, there was a group that began to work and form at Hopkins, at Boston, Children's, Cincinnati, some of the other places, and they really put together and formed endocrinology. And then Dr. Wilkins' boys, that's what they called themselves for a long time, they started forming, and then they started formed most of what formed endocrinology in most generations. Dr. Fisher was really a second generation pediatric endocrinologist, and he had been trained by an adult endocrinologist, Dr. Pickering, so all of those, but Dr. Fisher was here. Well, Dr. Hughes came along, and Dr. Hughes trained me, but he was trained by Dr. Vince Kelly, a second generation endocrinologist. So we've had endocrinology going on here for a long time. So Dr. Fisher and Dr. Hughes was very instrumental in providing what training I got in endocrinology, but that was before we had really formalized pediatric endocrine training programs. But that didn't say we didn't do a lot of endocrinology. Dr. Kemp, as you've heard, we probably did not all, we did a lot. We felt like it was all, but a lot of the studies that got growth hormone approved. But let me tell you, Dr. Ed Hughes was a pathologist, and he felt very strongly about making sure that everybody got some pathology. So during my rotation as a pediatric resident, I had to do pathology. While doing pathology, the one thing you had to do, we had to go down and take out pituitaries. And why did we do that? So they could take those pituitaries and isolate growth hormone. And that growth hormone was how we treated children very early with growth hormone deficiency. So we're very pleased that we had Steve, and I was Dr. Kemp was very thrilled to get that recombinant DNA growth hormone. So we didn't have to continue to take out those old pituitaries. But more importantly than that, we knew some of our patients began to get disease from those pituitaries. And so we were, again, very thrilled that that was, but during probably the first half of the century, we isolated almost all of purified almost all of the hormones, The growth hormone was the last one, to tell you the truth. We started out doing, we gotten the adrenals, hormone, and we learned how to do many of the radioimmunoassays, and we really learned how to do good screening. Used to be the most common cause of mental retardation in children was hypothyroidism. That was because we didn't, we didn't know and wouldn't diagnose until very late. Well, we soon learned that we could do neonatal screening and treat them from birth, and we markedly reduced. In fact, it's just almost sinful if we would not miss treating someone who had hypothyroidism. Most of the males that had adrenogenital syndrome died because we didn't recognize them. And they died with salt losing and adrenal insufficiency. And so we learned a lot doing all of these trying times. She asked me, she said, Dr. Ellis, we want to hear about some of those old-timey ways. Well, I don't think we want to hear too much about them. But one thing you don't want to hear, you don't want to go back. So we certainly want to keep moving forward, and I think but we were a part of that. I remember the way we used to ask that growth hormone was doing heaven. We probably had some of the best sulfation, somatic-eating assays outside of St. Louis. You know, they really probably developed the assay, and I went there and we learned to do it. And I suspect we picked more chicken leaflets than anybody I know. In fact, in the chicken industry here, they'd go and we would give the eggs, and we would be picking the eggs. And I know one time we wanted to get some brain to isolate a protein, and Dr. Hughes was trying to isolate what we call a manganic protein, a protein that now is coming into being. Now it's really beginning to be very popular. But we did a lot of work, and we isolated this pink protein, the manganic protein. We could isolate it. So we told this chicken industry, Smith's chicken industry, that we wanted some chicken brains to do that with. And so he said, well, Dr. Ellis, how many do you think you need? So I said, I don't know. I said, how many can you give us? He said, we had 19,000 an hour. I said, I don't want that man. Well, it was on the line. And so what they really had to do was they had to shut down the line. So we didn't want them. They dipped them, and so they dipped them so that they would be destroyed, which would destroy the protein before they put them in the line. So they had to stop the line, cut off as many chicken heads as we needed, they were quick frozen, and so, well, we picked chicken brains for a few days. Well, we got it frozen, but that was what those pathologists down, Dr. Hughes went down to South Alabama and trained the pathologists sitting back there. So I'm just saying that we did things that not quite like we do them today. The other thing that I think we were very involved in doing, I think, and Dr. Kemp helped to bring, he developed our hemoglobin A1C assay. And I mean, and this is our method. You know, before, we call ourselves doing a blood sugar when they came to the clinic once a week. How good was that? Useless. Well, but that was all we had, that's what we did. But I'm just saying that, but then once we developed the hemoglobin A1C, this is just an excellent way of evaluating how well your patients are really doing, rather than how well they're doing the minute you see them. So Dr. Kemp got those set up, and then we also, again, Marcy Children's Hospital helped us start getting those, we start doing insulin infusion cups. Well, our patients could afford to buy insulin infusion pumps, and they were new, and insurance wouldn't pay for them. And Children's Hospital never told us no for anything. So we would say we want to do it, they'd find a way to get it. And we didn't even want to worry about how much it cost. It didn't, and I'll never forget the summer we wanted to do evaluate some studies on growth hormone, and we had 7 young men, little growth hormone deficient young men in the hospital. And I know, Marcy, you wouldn't let us do it today. But we were there for a month. But we saved everything. The nutritionists required we kept everything on their diets. We saved all of their urine. We saved everything they did eat. And it was all frozen. put in a deep freezer, kept it, and anatomy kept it for us. Probably still up there. But anyway, so that's I'm giving you an idea of some of the things that went on that was kind of crazy. But we learned a lot. Well, you know, we developed a good radio immunoassays. We developed good assays for making early and absolute diagnosis. And we at Arkansas and at Children's Hospital and medicine was very much a part of that. And that was probably partly because of you know, just like that they're still reaching out, and so you wonder, well, how did I get people like Steve Kemp to come to Little Rock? I invited him, and so he came, and I don't think he planned to stay. I think he was just coming. And so we started talking, and when, you know, Steve likes to talk. I know, and I think it was a Southern. Yeah, but see, Steve does his fancy. Just the elders does Southern cooking. I fed him some Southern food, and we started talking about. I picked him up at the airport about 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening. At 3 o'clock in the morning, he was supposed to stay. So he ended up spending the night. But the best thing I did for him is I introduced him. He met Sharon, and I even bought him his first bed. And I told him if he didn't pay me, I was gonna come back and pick it up. He was always scared I'd do that. So. Well, that's right. He had no furniture. But anyway, we had a lot of fun. We worked very hard. We did accomplished an awful lot, I thought. And Dr. Frendick he was there with us, and he's very much involved in. And Dr. Pfizer was involved. They were both very much involved with taking care of lipid. And Dr. Manfred Mars, lipid metabolism, and studying children with obesity, and they're still doing that. And so that's still a part of endocrinology. And, well, we got to the point that what the doctors or people would call, they talk to the switchboard. So they just called, that was back in the old days, you know, we had switchboards. Now you try and get into the hospital and you can't talk to anybody. But they called the switchboard and talked to the switchboard operator and asked the switchboard, said, well, we want to send this child there to see that doctor who see funny or unusual looking children. So therefore I got to see almost everything. And it was wonderful, so we had an opportunity to do that. But that's kind of how we got started. And you know, and I could obviously go on all night telling you the different kind of lies and things that happen, but I won't. And so, but I thought that probably, and I'll just tell you, one of the really good histories of pediatric endocrinology was, most of you probably seen it, read it, and know about already, was written by Dr. Del Fisher, he and his wife are still out there. And so I would recommend that you really go over that and really read that. And you know, and I think that what we need to do is ask Children's Hospitals and all their administrators to continue to support pediatric endocrinology and Dr. Oden, and know that you're going to do wonderful things. We're going to make a lot of differences, and that you've made an awful lot of differences to an awful lot of children throughout the state of Arkansas. We enjoyed every minute of it from the beginning. We worked hard. We always had lots of support. We had taken a lot of beatings sometimes, but we did that. And so that's what pediatric endocrinology has been about since since we've been here, and so I'm going to, as I said, I could tell a whole bunch of stories, but I won't. And I'll just let you know that I'm proud of where we've come from, proud of what's been done. And I'm really proud when I talk to Dr. Oden, I'm really proud of where we're going. I'm proud of the young doctors that I see out there that we've trained and that we're continuing to spot and sprout academic health centers. And so with that, I'm going to stop and let you ask me questions. But before I do that, I want you to meet the person that's been by my side and helped me chase rats in the neighborhood sometimes. When I was doing studies and they'd get loose, and my neighbors would know they belonged to me because they were white rats, you know. So we would have great big white rats running around the house. But I've only been, I was just telling the people out in the hall, I said, well, I only knew him for 2 months. And so you don't have to know me in a long time. And we've been married for 60 years. He turned into he began to get involved in poetry. And so I'm going to shut up and let him give you an example of some of the poetry that he's, you know, put me on the spot. So, but he's gotten very good over the years. And since it's, I know. Well, when I go around and talk to women, one of the other person, Dr. Pestola, that we trained here, they said, well, what do you have to do about, Dr. Ellis, what do you recommend to women, you know, who are in medicine who go in chronology? I said, the first thing you do is you marry well.
I really didn't see this coming.
Can you be married to her? Typically for me, right?
A lot of people who have asked me, how did we marry? What in the world? Because I was a coach, physical educator, physical education teacher, physical science, and it came down through the school system that our youngsters had to have a physical. And we were playing one of the largest schools in our conference, and there was a shut-off period saying, you either get them a physical and pass, or you get them a pass on your season. And I called the superintendent, or the principal called the superintendent, and he said, call the university and ask and see if you can get somebody who will come. And I did. And I think I talked to Dr. Panis and asked him. And he said, yeah, we'll send you somebody. I told him, I said, thank you very much. He said, have them ready. So that's what we did. I had about 30 youngsters down there, and we had pulled ourselves all the way down to the G-strings. I told them, we're going to run it through because we want to have a shoot around so they can go home and eat. And they were down to the G-string. And that was a young, brash, good-looking lady dressed in blue. And she just stood by the door and the trainer came and said, "Ma'am, you got to go. We having physical down there now." And so she just stood there. And he came and told me, and I said, "Ma'am, you gonna have to go on now." And she told me, she said, "Well, if you want these boys example," she said, "you better let me stay, because I'm the doctor." I went and told my boys, and you have never seen pandemonium. They ran off. And I had to have everybody out there, right? Look, we can't forego our season because you got these feelings. I said, you're going to have to come on in here. And I came up with an idea. I told them, I said, I want y'all to get them done. I said, I'm going to have mine done first. And they really wanted to see that. All of them. I said, well, hey, drop them and let's get ready. And so I did that soon. I dropped mine. And then when I went to the door and I looked around at them and I winked my eye. And I came out in about 5 minutes. And every one of those boys went through that. Had no trouble out of them. And I told somebody that she gave me my physical, and she's been giving me a physical every since. I'm just telling you the way it is. I'm 88 and I feel just fine. Let me try. Are any of you into poetry? Let me try a little out of me. First one. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. If you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too. If you can wait and not be tired by waiting or being lied about, don't deal in lies. Or being hated, don't give way to the haters, and yet don't look too good, not talk too wise. If you can bear to hear the truth, you are outspoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools. Or watch the things you've given your life to, broken, and then stoop and build them up with worn out tools. You can make one heap of all of your winnings and risk it on a turn of pitch and toss, and then lose and start again at your beginning. and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart, your nerves, and your sinew to serve their turn long after they are gone, and then hold on when there's nothing in you except the will which says, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, but walk with kings, not lose the common touch. If neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much. If you can feel that unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distant run, yours is the earth and all that is in it. And which is more, you'll be a man, my son, my daughter, or my friend. This is Martin Luther King's Black History coming on. Most of you know about it. He's quite a statesman. Quite a few things have gone along with his name. And I'd like to share something that he did down at UAPB, down in Pine Bluff, at a commencement. And it was riveting. And I never forgot it. I never forgot the feeling that it gave to me. He started it off, he said, I hope you all don't be like Rip Van Winkle and fool around here and sleep through a revolution and not get an education. That's how he started. And then he said, young people who live in this world today must burn the midnight oil, because doors of opportunity are open to you right now that were not open to your mothers and your daddies. An opportunity is like a bald-headed man with a sprig of hair planted in the front of his forehead. And you got to grab it while it's facing you, because once the head is turned, the opportunity ain't no longer there. So you got to go out and aspire to do a good job. And don't go out there and try to do just a good Arkansas job. Or be a good Arkansas doctor, a good Arkansas lawyer. Do a job so well that the world will recognize you and your claim to fame and come and beat an unbeaten path and knock at your door. Do one so well that no one can do it better. The living, the dead, and the unborn. And if it falls your lot to be a street sweeper, heaven forbid, go on out and sweep streets like Michelangelo painted pictures. Sweep streets like Jabbar shot that hook. Sweep streets like Ray Charles sang the blues. And sweep streets like Michael Jackson danced. And when you pass on, let the world pause and say, here lies a great street sweeper, and he swept his job well. If you can't be a pine on the hill, be a scrub in the valley. If you can't be a highway, be a trail. If you can't be the sun, be an evening star. For it's not by side that you win or fail, my brothers and sisters. Just be the best of whoever you are. And then take that potion and go on out and try to make a difference in this world and in somebody's life. And if there's such a thing as love, it's going to come from my and your conduct. So if you wish good luck to find, sow good seeds and stay in line. Thank you.
things left to do. Again, thank you guys for being here with us tonight. Yeah, how do you follow that? Just to be honest, when Dr. Hutchison and I were buying these awards, we kind of made some snap decisions, and one of the snap decisions was that we bought 2 different sizes of these awards. One of them is larger than the other, and now actually I don't feel so bad because we can award both Dr. Elders and her husband, because that was fantastic.
So for those of you who didn't see the history, we had local artist James Hayes make 2 awards for these people. So you have a piece of James Hayes here.
You've already heard the Bill Clinton letter. It's a copy. Sorry guys, it's a copy. They haven't sent me the original. We will put the original in the frame when it arrives to my house. Eventually, I'll get it. But this will also be presented to Dr. Elders at the end of the night. We'll help her get it to her car. The last thing is a fund that is now in Joycelyn Elders' name. Is granted through the Pestola board. We raise monies and through donations and through the money that you guys sent us for registration, along with some the vendors that give us money for the tables and such. And so the excess, the surplus money that we don't spend on the Pestola conference, we were going to apply to this fund. And the fund is going to be directed towards trainees, residents, medical students, and fellows for international and national travel for, in particular, pediatric endocrine research interests. So I am going to exit the stage. Dr. Steelman wants to make one final remark, and then we will have dessert, and the rest of the evening is yours. Thank you again very much for coming.
Well, let's see. I was going to try to finish off with a little bit of humor, but you know, we've been thoroughly entertained by Oliver and Jocelyn, and I think also very much inspired. So the last thing I'm going to say, and again, you know, I appreciate all of you all that have come. I appreciate the vendors who've taken time to sponsor and support Pestola. Pestola has the contribution and the leadership of others on the Pestola board, the organization that's gone into this meeting. I think every year the meeting becomes a little bit more and grows a little bit more, and I think that every institution, and certainly Arkansas is no exception to this, adds their own unique stamp to their particular meeting. So the last thing I want to say is that Pestola is a nonprofit. It's been established since 2014, and so the funding that we get comes from, of course, sponsorships that we get from the vendors, also from the registration. But I would encourage you all as we continue to grow, because I've been really excited to see, I think all of us have been really excited to see how this meeting has progressed each year. So I would encourage you all to think about donating beyond just the support of this meeting with your attendance. And so there'll be opportunities if you want to approach people at the desk for registration to offer some additional support beyond what you all have done. So again, thank you all. I appreciate you all taking time out of your schedule to come and be part of this meeting, to be here and celebrate the work of Dr. Elders, and of course the inspirational words of her husband Oliver. So again, thank you all very much.
So for those of you guys who know me, I'm not one to prepare for things like welcoming remarks. Obviously. Okay, that's good. But this evening's going to be a little bit more complicated than your usually opening remark, honorary dinner and such. So Leslie this afternoon, actually she's been on me for about 3 days, told me to go ahead and start writing down some thoughts. Now, the good thing about me not putting these kind of remarks down is that these opening remarks are usually pretty quick, pretty brief. Because I forget myself, I get out of the way, and I'm just saying, okay, so I'm done, and I walk off. But now that I've written things down, they're a little bit longer. So in an attempt to save you guys from a lot of bantering, I came up with 3 points that I wanted to make. The first, of course, is welcome, good evening, and thank you to all of my friends and colleagues for being with us, attending this inaugural awards dinner for Pestola, which for those of you who do not know, stands for the Pediatric Endocrine Society of Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, and Arkansas. It is true, we are truly blessed for all of you guys to be with us tonight. We are very happy and grateful that you have made this drives and travel to come all the way to Little Rock and visit with us. But specifically, I would like to recognize several people and groups of people that have been critical not only for making this night possible, but also for over the past 5 years for which I've been here, have helped me and nurtured me to help this division grow. And to give you a sense of what that means, we started back in 2015 with around 4 doctors, and we are now 8, moving to 9. We started with 1 campus. We are now 2, both here in Central Arkansas and in Northwest Arkansas in Springdale. We had around 6 to 8 specialty nurses, but now we have 12. We now have a dietitian. We have a full-time social worker. Our programs have expanded to include a more robust obesity program and a revamped and revitalized transgender program, which is growing in leaps and bounds. So I'm going to start with my thank yous to Marcy Doderer, who is the CEO of Arkansas Children's Hospital, and Rick Barr, who is the chairman of pediatrics. There are way too many examples of the kindness and support, and in some cases forgiveness of things that I do, impromptu kind of visits to their offices and kind of flare emails of help and advice, which they have been more than kind to give me. Chanda Chacon, I have to say thank you to her as well, because with her help and encouragement, it's made my job much easier, along with Christina Clark, who I will share is my wife's cousin. So I do get her ear whenever she comes over and has dinner. It's been very nice. She has helped me through the intricacies of UAMS, because I don't spend a whole lot of time over there. She has to help me kind of go through that. Ann Kruger and Terry Saunders, who are also here tonight with us. It is incredible how many things I did not learn about outpatient clinic development, but these individuals have been helping me certainly through that, and some bumps in the road as well. Next, Joel Steelman and the Pestola board. So I want to say a heartfelt thank you to those individuals, Melissa Ham, Joel, several others, who were able to put a lot of belief and support behind this. The money of the Pestola board that was very, very helpful to us, of course. And a little bit of backstory for Pestola for Arkansas. So when I first moved here, an individual, a colleague, a friend in Dallas actually looked at me and said, you know, Pestola in Arkansas is just not, you're not going to be able to make that fly. Well, now we had a brand new conference this morning called Pestola for Peds. Supported 60 individuals, pediatricians, nurse practitioners, nurses, residents. They all came out here to hear us speak. That was brand new. Very successful, a lot of positive feedback, which was great, and this dinner. We also have almost 130 endocrinologists signed up as attendees to this program, which is a phenomenal number, and something that I'm very, very proud of and always will be very proud of. Now, unfortunately, that individual is not here. He's a good friend of mine, so he's going to hear about it in several ways. So, next, of course, is my team, and right now I'm just going to kind of focus on the individuals that helped us do this, like directly. Manish Rezangani, Shipper Bonsall, Michelle Hutchison, all those individuals were absolutely key. They certainly met their 10% of FTE for their academic time intent. And I'm very appreciative for the efforts and suggestions, the things that I missed, the things that I did wrong, they picked up on, and I appreciate that. And last but not least, certainly Morgan Butler, diabetes educators extraordinaire, absolutely phenomenal. We'll talk a little bit more about her later. And my wife, Leslie Oden, who, although she has a full-time job and raises our 3 kids, helped out as well. Again, more on her later. Second point. So I've already alluded to a couple of the new things. I want to kind of reiterate that. So the 2 things that we did that were brand new, Joel put his weight behind us, and our team pulled this together. And when I say our team, I'm not just mentioning these guys, but the entire group. From Northwest Arkansas all the way down to Central Arkansas, they helped us do this. So the Pestola for pediatricians was, again, a very successful conference. I would recommend that we continue to do that. And certainly our group is very excited to perhaps look into the logistics of doing this on a yearly or at least every other year basis with our Central Arkansas colleagues, and maybe even in Springdale, Northwest Arkansas. It was honestly a fantastic experience for all of us. And then the awards dinner. The awards dinner, of course, is designed to honor 5 particular groups, 5 people. And there's 2 big ones, and I'm going to list them out in kind of reverse order in which we will meet them. So, of course, there's Dr. Joycelyn Elders, who is an absolute icon in the I didn't know I was going to have the honor of meeting with her, much less having lunch with her and interacting with her. She's an inspiration to us all. Miss Sharon Kemp. So she and her husband, when I first moved here, Steve Kemp was a pediatric endocrinologist, well known in the endocrine community, fantastic doctor, fantastic friend. Unfortunately, he passed not too long after I moved here, which was very sad for us. But Sharon has been an inspiration to us, she's been a good friend to us, and we want to honor her tonight. Next, a group of people, and I want to say this is my team, and I don't want to get too crystallized with this, but you know, people like Heather Cantrell, Lily Abrams, Brittany Blankenship, Sarah, Juan, Mejia Otero, Amir Toss, Hurley. You'll all you'll hear about her in just a little bit. Fantastic people. I am amazed at what they do every day. I am very thankful for everything that they do when they are in clinic, working very hard to meet the needs of all of our kids. Finally, Leslie Oden, my wife. Realizing some of you do know who I am, and she has put up with me in my Star Wars nerd fashion, but she put in, after a long day's work, she put in countless of hours. With her experience as an event coordinator, she helped us kind of navigate through all the things that we had to get done. So, with that being said, I'm going to honor my wife with a gift. Does not get away easily as well. She has been a friend, as has all of my team, but Morgan has stepped into the role of helping us with this Pestola conference. She deserves accolades for that. I will be forever thankful for her help, and also, we did. Right? Again, I want to thank everybody for being here with us. This was truly a labor of love for all of us. We did want to impress the individuals that were coming. We have some fantastic speakers, not only Dr. Elders tonight, Mike Freemark, Mike Levine, Dorothy Becker, Jared Gardner, all these individuals who have spoken nationally, internationally, are now here to be with us and to educate us, and I thank them. Now, without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Steelman, and he is going to present our first honoree. Dr. Steelman.
First of all, as I get ready to make a few remarks on Dr. Steve Kemp, I just want to thank everyone for coming tonight. Dr. Oden has done an excellent job of recognizing everyone from the Arkansas group that has done just a fantastic job as far as organizing this conference. I'm just very excited for the beginning of the meeting tomorrow. I want to thank you all for coming. I also want to thank the Pestola board. All of us have been involved each year, working with the different the different divisions in terms of organizing meetings. So it's really honestly an effort of love between all the different people and all the different institutions within Pestola that make these types of meetings possible. So again, thank you all very much. I'd like to ask everyone to give a round of applause to the Arkansas people for organizing such a wonderful Dr. Elder and her husband for coming to visit with us today, and we look forward to hearing from you as well. So that being said, I'm going to take a few minutes as we begin and recognize Dr. Steve Kemp, and also an award to Sharon Kemp, who I imagine put up with a lot with Steve Kemp. So I think many of you all have some memories of Dr. Kemp. I do as well. So I'd like to share a few recollections, a little bit of about Dr. Kemp's life with you all. So I'm going to start off with something that sounds very obscure. You may know exactly what I'm talking about. Lemon rosemary sorbet. So for me, that was my first experience with Dr. Steve Kemp. And will forever be associated in my mind when I think about him. It was Steve and Sharon who actually had my wife and I over for dinner. I finished fellowship and was seeking a career after fellowship, and my wife and I had the wonderful opportunity to experience the hospitality of Steve and Sharon. Now, I learned a lot at that meeting that many of you all may already know, that Steve was an incredibly accomplished physician. Certainly that was already well known. His name was well known in the field of growth hormone. But he was also a person of great depth and great talent. Now, medically, he had begun his career in Oregon, where he grew up, earning his undergraduate degree. He got both an MD as well as a PhD, and ultimately, after completing his endocrine fellowship, came here to Arkansas and joined Dr. Elder, where he remained for the entirety of his career. In addition to professorship in pediatrics and the head of the endocrine division here in Arkansas, he was also a professor in medical humanities. As I mentioned, he was a pioneer in the field of growth hormone and authored well over 100, if not more, textbook chapters, peer-reviewed articles. He was a lecturer, both nationally as well as internationally, and involved in many of the registry studies on growth hormone. He served in numerous organizations: the Endocrine Society, the Pediatric Endocrine Society, the American Association of Clinical Endocrinologists, to name but a few. He also was a member of the Human Growth Foundation, another nonprofit, where he served both on the board as well as president of that organization for many years. And I could stop there, and he would have, certainly in your mind, a very, very storied career in medicine. But there's many more things about Dr. Steve Kemp. His talents and his energy were very wide and diverse. I learned that he was a musician, very accomplished and very passionate about church music. He both wrote as well as composed, or as well as played music. He was also a very accomplished cook who regularly entertained in his home. One other obscure thing that maybe many of you all don't know, and I learned this from Patty Costa from the Human Growth Foundation, is that Steve was a very accomplished knitter who actually knitted and created his own patterns. And so Patty has a sweater which he treasures that came from Steve. So during this meeting, obviously, as John has mentioned, we have many people who are leaders and have just very distinguished careers in their medical field. And their work and their dedication to children, families, and colleagues is admirable and should serve to inspire us and to aid us as we continue our own work and aspire to be contributors to that high level in our field. I think, though, that Dr. Steve Kemp's life and career should inspire us to strive for our best both professionally and personally. And it's with great respect that we honor him and honor Sharon this evening. Thank you all.